why do we need file operations? What is a file basically? Let's start with basic. What is a file? So file is nothing but a named location on a disk, which is stored, or let's say which 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 consists of a related information. Okay, it is used to permanently store in a non-volatile memory. So basically, when we are discussing memories, one is a volatile memory in your systems. One is non-volatile memory. So your non-volatile memory is your hard disk, and your volatile memory is your RAM. Since RAM is volatile, so it loses the data as soon as you close the application or whatever you want to do with it. That is why we write everything in our non-volatile memory, because we want to use it for our future references. Generally, file operations consist in 3 sections. Okay, number 1, you open the file. Number 2, you read or write the file. Number 3, you close the file. Okay, so specifically keep in mind. Okay. You do these operations when you deal with files. File, read or write the file, you perform some operations, whether you read it, you write it, you insert something, you append something, or you can do a couple of tasks as per your requirement basically. Now, how do you open a file? It's very simple. You don't have to import anything to open a file in Python. It's built-in function or built-in. Yes, there's a built-in function which is available as open. So what I will do, I will create a simple text file here. Where am I? Okay, it's new text file. Now to open a file, I will go ahead and initiate the function. And I can provide the path. Since it is going to be in the same path, I will go ahead and use test.txt. I did that. Now, if I have the file which is available in a different path, I recommend you, let's say I have a file which is available in some of the other memory. Oh, sorry, in some of the other folders. Let's say, let's say here, I request you all to please use the raw string method. So basically apply R before writing these backslash. Okay, I request you to please do that. Sometimes it happens that say you have a folder which starts with N or small n, anything can happen. Now Python will consider it as a next line statement. To avoid such instances, I request you to please use this R, which will consider this as a raw string. Okay, there is a concept of raw string in Python, which enables you to, which enables Python to read that string as a string only, not any kind of special characters or any kind of special operations. Since we are already aware, let's say if I have backslash T, it means it's tab. Backslash N, it means it's next line character. So always such instances. Okay. Now, since I have the file open, if I try to print it, it will not do anything. It will say it's a text input output opener, which is named text.txt, and it will give you the encoding. It is in CP1252. Now, if we want, we can go ahead and change the encoding also. We can do that. Okay. If we want to open the file which is in the read-only mode, we can do that. If we want the file to be opened in write-only mode, we can also use such instances. Now, I will tell you those. Let's say if you do something like this, say I will do f.close. File is closed. Perfect. Now, prior to performing the operations, I want to tell you a few specific things. Say, if you're writing here R, okay, it means you will be opening the file in the read-only mode. You will not be able to write the file. This is first instance. Let's say if you used only R, it means or reading, okay? And this is the by default operation. If you do not provide anything, it is going to happen for the read-only mode. The way I have opened it, I have not specified anything. So it is going to become, or it is going to open the file in the read-only mode only. The second is that, okay, I want to open the file. Things in our mind. If the file is not there, okay, if the file is not there in the directory which you have specifically defined, then it will create a new file for writing for you. This is the first thing. If it exists, then it is going to truncate that file and it is going to rewrite, means it is going to erase everything and then will make the changes. Whatever you will write in here, and those things will follow. Now there is an X also. You can use X. X is used for exclusive creation. Okay. If the file is already exist, the operation will fail. So the file does not exist. Create the file for if the file exists. You have A also, which you use to append the file. And means you already have something written in the file. The way I have 3 lines written in this file, and I want to append this to, let's say, 4th line. I will use A. I will not use W. As soon as I use W, everything is truncated from this file. And what is other? This seems off. This seems off actually. These we need to keep these things in our mind. Now the by default encoding, the way we see it, okay, the by default encoding is CP1252, which is there for Windows, I guess. Sometimes you want to specify as encoding, then you can provide encoding here using the date. So if you want to open the file in the UTF-8 encoding, which will also be supported by Linux, you can do that also. But make sure that you have closed the file after opening it. It is a very important operation. You have to close the file. If you do not close the file, there's someone texting. Okay, this is one kind of encoding which is used in files basically. Means every operating system reads the file in some of the different encoding. Windows generally reads it in CP1252. I am not very sure how these are defined basically. I will not be able to answer if you ask me anything deep in that. I'm sorry, I will not be able to do that. Okay. There is one more thing which I want to call out. You have used the F function, sorry, the F variable or whatever variable you can use it. It is called file handler. You should also keep this with you. It is called file handler. Now I will also introduce you the exceptional handling at the moment. So we are very good to go. Even with in exception, have three things. Basically try. Okay. Final. Yes. Okay. Now you have these three things when you are dealing with exceptional handling. The way I'm introducing it, tell you something specific. The reason I'm introducing here is let me define something for you. Okay, let's do something. F is equals to open. I'm trying to open it and I'm writing something named txt. Final and or let's say not print except now what is Python doing at the moment? Since if I perform this operation here, I'm going to receive an error stating that there is no file, there is no such file or directory, whatever I have defined. Now that is when your try, except and final clauses help you out. This is called exceptional handling. So what you are doing, you are writing some expression here, okay? And you are preparing yourself. If I'm going to receive any kind of exception, I'm going to run this. I'm going to do this statement. So let's do something else. Open txt. You can have multiple accepts. It's like elif. You can have multiple elifs. The same way you can have multiple accepts. Exist. Now what is Python going to do? Python is going to try this. Okay, it is going to try this clause. If it throws an error, it will come here. If it also throws an error, it will come here and it will run this statement. I can use this statement here. Okay, I can use this statement and it will open the file for me. But just for the demonstration purposes, I will run this. What happened here? Why did I receive an error? Why did I- Yes, I missed that. Thank you, Arun. I missed that. Except of accept at the moment. We understood if the try is not working, then we will go to accept. And there is one more clause, which is final, which is going to get executed even when we do not do anything. Okay. It's called finally. Sorry. And this. So you can see that since this line of Python, sorry, this line failed, it did not execute. Okay, that is why it came to this accept clause. But your finally statement is always executed. So we generally try to open the file and try and finally, because even when you forget to open the file, let's say, sorry, you forget to close the file. Let's say file is equals to open, you provide the file name text.txt, then you can write finally or close. Now what you do here is you can write n number of operations here. Okay, you can write n number of operations. What will happen at the end? It is going to close the file. Okay, even when you forget to write it, you should always use this finally statement when you're dealing with file operations. This is one way to remove, or this is one way to leave your file open in the directory in Python. Okay, this is one of the used cases for Python which we use. Now, coming back to the file operations. Now, there is one thing which I will tell you. Now, once we are writing something in a Python file, okay, once we are writing something in a Python file and we have opened a file, we are writing something, or let's say we are appending it, opening it in either in W mode or in X mode or in A mode, let's say. Okay, I have written something in it. Till the time I do f dot close, the operation or the changes will not reflect in the file. So it becomes a very important task for me to use f dot close, or let's say whatever file handler I'm using, I have to close the file, because till the time I close this, whatever operations I have done is going to be there in my volatile memory, which is RAM. It is not going to be stored in the non-volatile memory, which is hard disk. So I have to use this close statement to get these things done. Okay, we have to do this. Now let's open a file in in write mode, which is test.txt written W mode. Now you can see the mode was R at the moment, but was because by default Python consider it as read-only mode. Here the mode is W mode. Okay, here the mode is W mode. Now the moment I hit f dot close, okay, everything, whatever changes I'm going to make is going to get reflected in this file. But till the time, if I do not write f dot close, everything is going to be stored in my RAM only. Now let's write f dot write just line and this is my file, and let's see. Okay, you can see whatever I wrote there, okay, it got truncated because I opened the file in write only, in write mode. Okay, so what we discussed, if the file does not exist, it is going to create the file. But if the file exists and it contains something, then it is going to truncate that file. So you can see the file got truncated, whatever was there got erased, and whatever I wrote here got reflected here. Something which we need to keep in mind. Until or unless I hit f dot close, nothing was going to get changed. Now let's see. Now let's read the same file, but let's do it in the read-only mode. That is, we will be able to see how can we read lines. Okay, how can we read lines? Since there is only one line in the file. Okay, let me change it. Let me note something else. Sorry, write something else. And there are two lines. We'll again open it and we'll read it. Now you can see this is something which I was talking about, the backslash n character. Now, what is backslash n considering here? Backslash n means there is a next line. Okay, it is a next line character. Okay, how can I remove this thing? Okay, it is a next line character which is happening at the moment. Whatever I wrote, okay, I gave f dot read. So if you do not specify whatever you want to write, it is going to give you something in this way. Okay, it is going to give you something in this way. Now, if I do f dot read, I will remove this line. Say 10. Why is it not giving me anything? F dot read, there is a function called f dot read. Read line is I know. Read line is I know. Okay, I understand. I understand. See, this is good. It's good that it happened. Now what happened in this situation? I have read the file. Okay, it gave me these two things. Okay, it gave me first line change, next line change, or this using backslash n characters. Now there is something called seek. Okay, I don't remember the exact word for it. There is something called seek. What Python is doing at the moment you first read the file, okay, the character or the reading character reached to the end of the file. Okay, it reached to the end. The moment I do something like this, f dot seek 0, using the file handler to come at the extreme beginning, something like, and if I do something like this, now I'm going to receive the first 4 characters. Now, if I do f.tell, it is going to tell me that I'm at the 4th character at the moment. Okay, so this is something which we need to keep in mind when we are reading a file. If we are reading the file completely in one go using f.read function, okay, we are not providing any kind of integer. We are just providing f.read. It means it is going to read the entire file and my character, okay, whatever you can call it. I'm not able to. Pointer, yes, pointer would be the exact word, pointer. The pointer is going to the extreme end. Okay, pointer is going to the extreme end if you're reading the file in one go. Then if you print something, it is going to give you blank only because there is nothing at the end of the file. The Python has already read everything. In those scenarios, you use seek to come at the beginning, or you can provide any specific character where you want to go. And then you can use the tell function to check where is your pointer situated at the moment. Now I know that, okay, I'm at the 4th character. If I do f.tell, I'm at the 4th character. If I do f.read now, you can see I did not receive first space because, okay, the space is also calculated as a character. Please keep this also in mind. Whatever I received from line changed. Okay, these 4 characters were not included. So now if I do f.read, I'm going to receive blanks. Python has read the file completely. I have to do f.seek to come at the beginning. That is when I will be able to get everything. If I do f.tell, then I will be able to get, okay, there are total 69 characters in the file, including the space, including the next line characters. Any issues in this? Read. Okay, we have not done read line, so ignore that. Any issues until now? Yes, no, maybe shut up. Okay, I will take it as a yes. I will take it as a yes. I will again go to the beginning of the file and I will use a loop to run. Okay, to print every line. Since we can see this is not a very good situation for me. So what I will do for I can f print. Now I can print all my lines using a simple loop. I can do that also. There is one more function which Arun just mentioned, which is called read line. Okay. Read line is a very useful function because it reads entire line in one go and the pointer goes to the next one. So if I do, first of all, I have to do f.seek. And if I do f.read line, it is going to give me the first line with the next line character. Okay, first line change, next line character. Now, if I do f.read line again, it is going to give me second line, third line, fourth line, then blank because there is nothing after at the end of the file. So you can use read line also. There is one more specific function which is available. Now, if I seek 0, now f.read lines. Read lines gives you a list of all lines. Okay, you can iterate them, you can check the length, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So f.read lines is a specific function which is available to read all lines and make it a list. Anything in this, anything in the file operations means which we discussed. With open file, yes, there is with open file. I have actually not used it, Arun. Do you mind taking it? I actually have not used with open file. I know it's uh, I have not used with open, sorry.
Okay, so basically what we are doing now is we are manually opening the file, then we are manually closing it. Now there is a possibility that as Shirish told, we may forget to but close the file after we are done with it. So actually there is a syntax I will just share. So if you use something like this, like with open file name as f, and that will be similar to our a function that we write. Yeah. So inside that file read lines or whatever you want to do. So the file opening and closing will automatically take place, and we need not like manually close, because once it comes out of this indented section, it will automatically close. So you need not worry about file dot close or deallocation of resources. So if you like read lines and print it there or something, assign it to a list, and then maybe print it afterwards, so you can use it further. You will have to, okay, yeah. As you saw, instead of like we did f dot open, f dot read, f dot close. Instead of those three things, if we have big files or multiple files, multiple resources, we need not like open and close each time. Using the with thing, we can like easily manage that.
Thank you, Arun. Yes, so using with operator, you don't have to manually write f dot close or whatever file handler you are using. You don't have to write close command manually. The moment, as Arun said, the moment it is going to come out of this indented block, the file is going to get closed automatically. So it is one way. The other way is try or finally. You can use that also. It's up to you how you are dealing with such things. Now, there is one I want to tell you. I will give you a couple of important things when it comes to OS module. Okay, there is an OS module which is available. Okay, sorry, Shana. Anything which you want to ask? Uh, do you have any questions, or should I just pitch slow? Yes, I'll speak slowly. So the module called there is a module called import. There is a module called OS. Okay, OS is a very useful module. Okay, you can rename the files, you can delete the files, you can create directories, you can remove directories, you can do a couple of tasks using the OS module. So whatever operations are there, to do those operations in your system, in your operating system, you use the OS module. Okay, let's say I have this file available. If I create a text document, uh, delete it. Okay, and I want to delete it. Let's say first of all, I will rename this. Okay, first of all, I will rename this document. So I will copy its path. Start dash deleted.txt. I want to rename it with okay. This is something which I was telling you about. You see the file name is changed. It is new file now. And this is you could see that I received an error while processing that operation. The reason is it was considering something else. Okay, it was considering some Python character or anything specific. This is one of the main reasons we should use R before defining any path in Python. Okay, whether we are dealing with pandas, whether we are dealing with numpy.load txt, pd.read csv, or anything. Okay, you should keep this as your practice because it does not give you anything. Okay, it does not take too much time just to write an R. Okay, and it works absolutely fine. You can see the file name is changed. It is new file now. It was earlier deleted. Now, if I want, I can go ahead and remove the file. os.remove, and then will provide. Okay, just remove, not removes. Provide the file name. We'll run it. There is no file now. The file is. In directories, we can remove directories. We can do directory management basically. Okay. Let's say I want to know in which directory I'm currently in, so I can do get dot os dot get cwd means get current working directory. So I'm here at the moment. I'm in the this is my current working directory. Okay. If I want to change the directory, I can do os dot chdr. It means I want, let's say I want to change the directory to this path. Sorry. Why is it end of line? Now, if you do this current working directory, I'm in desktop at the moment. So you can do such operations also. Sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you don't want to pass the path of the entire file. Okay. Sometimes you can use couple of things as an alternative. You can provide address as a variable, and you can provide the path, and then you can read the file in that way. You can do that, or you can change the directory in this way. You can do this. Okay. Let's say if you want to list all files which are available in the current directory. Okay, and I have actually used this function a lot. You can do os.list dir. It is going to give you all files and folders which are available in your current directory. You just have to do os.list dir. And I have used this function a lot in the previous project which I did in my organization. I had to find a file which is related to some more specific file. Let's say I can run a loop. Okay, I can basically run a loop just to check. Okay, if something is there in the file, let's say I only want the XLSX file, then I can do something like this, right? For I and os.list dir if XLSX I is going to print only one file. Okay, this is the exact same thing which I use in my organization because it was required. You can specify such conditions. Okay, you can specify such conditions to get anything you want from your directory. You can do that. You can create multiple directories. You have few things. Now, yes. Now we will move ourselves to exception handling in detail. Okay, there are 2-3 examples which I will share. Okay. Now you can see. Line which I need to add. Now, if you see this, okay, it's a very simple code which I have written. There is nothing too fancy in here. It's one way to deal with exceptions. Okay, we discussed, okay, let's say if I'm receiving any kind of exception and I want to perform something like this, okay, let's say I'm using try clause, which we discussed earlier, and I open a file. Okay, I'm trying to open a file which does not exist. I'm writing some operations which is not happening. Then I'm requesting Python to go in the except block and this operation. This is what I'm requesting. Let's say I want to deal with specific kind of errors in a specific way. Okay, that is when you deal with such errors. So let's say if I print G name error, okay, you get a kind of an error which is available. You get the name error. But let's say 1 divided by 0. you get zero division error. So such errors you receive, okay, it means that you have name for such errors. This is what I'm exactly doing here. So I'm running a loop for I in LST. I'm initiating the try clause and I'm saying print the entry is I simple. The entry is B, it is printing because B is going to be the first element which is going to get iterated from the LST and will be coming in I. So the entry is B. The next operation it is trying to do is R equals to 1 by int of I. Now, if I do int of F, it is going to give me a value error. Okay, it is going to give me a value error. Now, the way I want to deal with such value error is this. Except value error, okay? This operation will only perform when there is a value error, okay? When there is a value error. Or you can print like unable to put the string. Now, what is it? I have imported another module which is sys, which is an inbuilt module in Python. You don't have to download it, install it using pip or conda. So to get the exception info, I can write something like this. Okay, this is how I can get this exception info. You can just write it somewhere else. You do not use it very often. But what you are doing here, if there is a value error, then you are printing these two things. But if it is not a value error, let's say it's a zero division error. Okay, because I'm dividing one by every element of the list. Then I will be doing what I will be doing. I will be dividing in the next statement 1 by 0. It means it is going to be a zero division error. So I can write print Ethan cannot divide by 0, whatever you want to write. And if any kind of different error, then you will print something like some other error, anything. Okay, whatever you want to write. At the end, when your loop is ended, you are printing this and you are printing this. Now, when I run this, you can see for the first entry, which was B, the entry is B. It was not able to convert it into an integer because B is a string. It was not possible to convert it into an integer. Hence, it gave me the value error. The kind error is class value error. You can get this class value error information using this function. And then I'm printing this statement, unable to convert the string into an integer, unable to convert the string into an integer. And then I'm just printing an extra line to see things in a clear way. The next statement, 0 is coming from the list and it is being put in the I in the second iteration. Now, again, the try block is executed. Okay, the entry is 0, 1 by 0, definitely zero division error. This error is zero division error and it is printing this. Python cannot divide by 0. Again, the loop ran. Next, the last time the value is 2. This line got executed, the entry is 2. This line got executed. It means everything is fine. It did not go in any one of the except clauses. It directly came here. It printed this and it directly came here and printed 0.5. So this is how you can use try except with specific kind of errors. Okay, if you have a specific error and you want to run different operation for that kind of error, let's say this is a very valid scenario. Let's say you have a list with 1000 elements. You don't know how many integers are there. You don't know how many strings are there. And you are giving an integer for which you want to divide it or whatever operations you want to perform. For specific kind of errors, you can perform specific operations. You can use functions. Okay, you can derive functions at the end of the code, and you can call those function in specific kind of errors. Let's say I've defined a function which is only related to value error. I can derive that function or I can call that function here. Then my Python code will run that function. So you can do such things, and this is actually very helpful. Okay, this is actually very helpful. Any questions in this? Yes, no, maybe shut down. I will take it as a no that there are no questions. One last thing which I want to discuss today is okay. You can do debugging in Python. Okay, you can do debugging in Jupyter Notebook or even when you are using just ideally or any kind of editor you are using. Okay, even Sublime Text, you can do debugging there. Okay, you don't have to use any additional tool like Visual Studio or PyCharm for that. There is a module which is PDB Python Debugger. You can Google it. PDB. It is called Python Debugger. You can use Python Debugger to get so many things. Okay, we will see what are the things which you can do here. To do that, let me define a function. Okay, let's say sequence of n or I in range of n. But set traits. We'll explain this. So int I what you see here. Okay, is something different which we generally do not see. You can see it is a still star. You can see this is still filled. It means my code is still running. Okay, my code is still running. You can see something like this here. It means code is still running. The interpreter is not stopped. What is happening here? The moment you wrote sequence 5, okay, the moment you wrote sequence 5, it went here. It did for I in range of n sample. The next line, okay, this is the line where I want the debugger to be initiated. Okay, what is okay? So you can see the arrow. Okay, this arrow indicates what is going to be the next line. This is that arrow indicates. Now this command line is requesting me to provide a command. Okay, it is requesting me to provide a command. What I can do here is if I write C, okay, there are a couple of things which we can do. If I write C here, it means I'm requesting the interpreter, the compiler, to continue. If I write Q, then I'm saying quit the debugger. If I write list, that is going to list the place where your code is. Basically, let's do all these things. Okay, it gave you where you actually are. Again, exactly the same thing. It gave you exactly the same thing. Let's try help. It gave you help. These are the things which you can do. Okay, these are the things which you can actually do. You can write all these things in here. Let's write C. The moment I write C, the loop executed again, and again I'm back to the debugger. If I write Q, the loop executed, everything happened, but the debugger did not stop because I wrote Q. I'm requesting the Python to quit the debugger, and everything is happening smoothly. So this is the power of a debugger. You can do so many things. You can list down the local variables, something like this. Let's say E space want to know the value of I at the moment. The value of I is 0. Let's see. Continue this. Again, I wrote p dot I. The value of I is 1 because the moment I continued, the loop ran again, and I'm again back to the debugger. And then when I'm asking the value of I again from the interpret or from the debugger, it is giving me 1 at the moment. Let's do C again. It is again going to run the loop. If I do pi again, because the value which I have given is 5, it is going to run in the range of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I continue this practice, the debugger is going to give me the value 3 and 4 again. Okay, this is what debugger is going to give. So let me write this for you. List the place the load is. You just pick P or P with variable name. Okay, prints the value of that variable. If you write P space locals, a dictionary of all local. Try this. P equals. See, the value of n is 5 and the value of I is 2 at the moment. Okay, it gave you a dictionary of locals. But globals, it gave me an error. Why? Yes, because something like this is happening. There are so many global variables written at the moment. Okay, that is why it gave you something like this. Okay, because there are so many global variables which I have defined earlier. So you can do p dot global, sorry, p space global. What's the rest? Was there something else? Returns a dictionary of all. There with where as key and value as value. Something someone wrote something in the list. Okay, what is the use of debugger? Thank you for the question, Mukesh. You run into errors in your code and cannot find them where it is coming. You can use the debugger to single step through your code to check where the logic has gone wrong, or if program crashes, you get to the trace, yes, stack trace of the condition at crash to find out what condition caused it. Yes. I can, everything will run smoothly. So these are a couple of things which we need to keep in mind. Actually, okay. You generally use C, you can use Q, you can use H. Okay, we did not write H here. You can write H as in help. You can write list. You can write P where name. You can write P locals. You can write P globals. Yes. All for today's session.